Hey, Irma. Oh, she's connecting to audio. Hey, Catherine. Good to see you. Hey, Irma, I saw where you're going to be leading us tomorrow and Saturday, correct?
I think so. I'll see. Yeah, I know Saturday, but yeah, tomorrow. What's tomorrow?
Is
I don't even.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I was saying what day was tomorrow, but don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Um,
tomorrow and Saturday is what you put down. So
okay.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, ladies. Good to see all of you on here, all prompt and everything. What's going on? You ladies are always prompt. Hey, Sharon, see that you're in the car again. Be careful out there.
I know it's kind of sleeting down here, so
Mhm.
not sure what. Headed to IU Dental School, so
Cool. All right. We've got Carol Cox. Hey, Carol. Good to see you.
Hello, everybody.
And I kind of heard you. What's wrong with my hair? Let me clean out my ears. Hold on. Okay, what now? You doing okay, Carol?
I said all is well. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, all is well. Very good. Thank you. And then we got Angie Lou Merle on the call. Hey, Angie. You got your power back on?
My power did come on, but I cannot get my internet back onto my laptop right now. So that's why I'm on my phone again.
All right. It's all good. It's all good. Well, ladies, welcome to day 10. You made it to day 10. So this is it's a day of decision. So we're going to follow up on where we are in the 30-day challenge from a plan perspective. And we're going to make some decisions about tomorrow because tomorrow it's an optional. You have an option to have to eat something off plan. So we want to be mindful and going in with our eyes wide open for that. But first, before we do that, we do want to check in, and I want to check in with you on what you did with what we talked about yesterday. You remember we talked about the yes, no, and stop. And I asked you to see if you could apply that throughout the day and notice what happens. And that's, to me, that's very powerful. You know, when I tell myself no, when I actually say that out loud and I say stop and just stone gun that thinking, it's really powerful. So it always works well for me. And I'm curious as to how it works for you. All right. So we're going to start off with Catherine this morning. So Catherine, go ahead and check in and tell us your deal.
Okay, good morning. Yes, I had to use stop yesterday.
Yeah.
I had made my family some, I had sauteed up some red, yellow, and orange peppers, right? And that's on our plan, just not right now. But I did, eat some of that because they were so good. And then I had made guacamole, and so I nibbled on that, and I said, "Stop! I'm not supposed to be eating this right now." Because see, in that moment, I was saying, "Well, wait a minute, this is planned food, fat in the avocados, the peppers." But I said, "No, not right now." So I used the power of stop.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Sharon.
well, I used the words, but I don't know if they were in the appropriate sequence. I worked until 6 yesterday. I had a chicken patty at lunch. I brought lettuce, but I just can't get it down without some kind of dressing. And so by 6 o'clock when I left, and I did a lot of physical activity yesterday, I was just famished. And I stopped at Culver's and got me a fish sandwich. And I'm telling you, that was the best fish sandwich I ever ate. But I gave myself permission. And maybe I knocked the security guard off his perch because I was down 0.8 this morning.
All right.
But I know I'll get back. But as far as the decision making, I'm going to still in the groove of the 60-day plan. So I'm back on this morning and I'm going to finish that out. And as long as I can keep eking out a few ounces, I'll stay on that and then I'll think about adding. But it was just a real challenge. But I kept remembering you living in choice. And if I made the decision to do that, and this is a lifestyle, then there's going to be times when I choose to do something different. So I'm not beating myself up.
Good. Good. And it just simply means that you adjust course too. So like tomorrow, there's an opportunity to have an item that's off plan. Well, you can say, well, I already had my item, so I'm checking that box and moving on.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. Let's check in with Irma.
I guess I had the power of stop because I threw something away. The
Wow.
best way to stop is to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So
I've done that too. I've even put something in the trash and put something yucky over the top of it so I wouldn't be tempted to go back. Yeah.
well, I took it outside. I took it and put it in the big trash can.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. hmm
All right. Sounds good. All right, Carol, how about you?
I did yes, no, and I didn't have a stop yesterday. Did throw away and stayed on plan most of the day. Only one thing was a soup, and I said yes to it because the ones that he buys, we have to use it within a certain time. But unlike the others, it's gaining momentum with me.
Okay.
The plan.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right, so let's go on to Angie. So Angie, how did you do yesterday in spite of everything, or despite everything? Not in spite of, despite.
Well, obviously, I didn't know what the whole, although I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't do great yesterday. I did not drink any of my water. None.
Okay.
I had my 13-month-old grandson I was taking care of for 12 hours, and so things were completely off.
Yeah.
Did tell myself no last night a couple times. Definitely said no.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a very fast recap, what we were talking about yesterday is yes, when we say yes to the things on the plan, we do get faster results, but we also say yes, I can, instead of saying I can't, which is more of a negative statement, yes, is I can have this, I choose to have this, I do have enough. So it gets away from that deficit mindset. But sometimes we misuse the yes, and we know that when we say yes to the things that we know are like almost like poison to us. So no is no. But all of these have two sides to it, right? I mean, no can be no, I'm not doing that. And I said that yesterday. I was famished. I worked my butt off. As a matter of fact, since I've come back from break, I have had very little time. And so it's amazing how the thoughts will come and say, you just need to grab this, just grab this on the run. And I got to say no. But then there is a voice that says, you got a goal. you want to stick to plan, and that little rebel comes out and says, no, I'm not listening to you, right? So I've been pretty good at tamping that down. But stop is a word that when we say it out loud, it registers with our brain, and it temporarily stun guns our brain. Our brain goes like, what? And it gives us a chance to regroup and get our heads on straight. Say, okay, wait a minute now. I'm not going to entertain these thoughts anymore. I'm not going to keep running them like a ticker tape in my head over and over and ruminating over them. I'm stopping this incessant temptation now. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what we said about yes, no, and stop. And Catherine actually has some really good perspective on that. I loved how you shared your thoughts, Catherine, when we ended yesterday. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Jennifer. So Jennifer, we're checking in on how you did yesterday and talking about how you applied or what resonated with you about the yes, no, and stop.
Okay, I did pretty well on plan yesterday. I had a stop moment. We were gifted some really nice chocolates for Christmas, and everybody is enjoying them. And I was getting on the road, and I just reached into the thing, and I was gonna grab two for the road, and I said stop, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I just put them back, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, even if I eat it later, I'm not gonna eat it now. I'm just not, just stop. And so I didn't have them at all. Um, I yes, and I don't know if this is in the right context, but I was trying to figure out a way. I didn't have any celery, but I did have some frozen whipped cream in the freezer, and it's I have learned it's kind of, if I eat a bite of that when it's frozen, it's kind of chewy. It's kind of like ice cream. So I had decided that if I had a craving in the evening, I would just get one spoon of that and just chew on it. Um, and that would be it. And so that's what I did in the evening, because I still just am battling that late time snacky, munchy, sweet tooth monster. So I did have that. But otherwise, I changed up my food a little. I forgot how much I like Brussels sprouts, so I had those yesterday. So it was okay. It wasn't perfect, but I did better on plan yesterday, and that stop was very effective. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, we still, every once in a while, those monsters are going to come along, as you call them, and they're going to tempt you, and they are going to try to defeat you and cause you to feel defeated and discouraged, like you can't get off of them, and they won't get off of you. But it really is that mindset. I love that scripture that Catherine called out, and I would distill it down to this: that it's really about us pressing in and enduring to the end. There will be a little bit of suffering in that, and it will require us to be disciplined. And we have the power to overcome these things. Even this morning, as we were praying this morning in the 40-day prayer challenge, and I'm telling you, it was behind the scenes in my mind, it was difficult, to bring up all of these things before the Lord. We usually want to put our best foot before the Lord and say, look, Lord, look at all these things I'm doing for you, but when we bring up sin and the strongholds and we shine the light on those, and they just look so ugly. And one of the things that the Lord had me to do was call out the behavior of, well, really it's gluttony and eating addictions. Eating addictions include binging. It includes these habits and strongholds that have been ingrained in our lives. And as I was working through that prayer, I'm thinking, Lord, I know this is this is one reason why I stick with Fit and Focused, because it puts the light on the fact that we're fighting against strongholds. we're fighting Ephesians 6:12. We think we're fighting against flesh and blood. It's more than that. The enemy wants to take us down, and he wants to, one way that he can get to us is through food and tempting us with food. He knows that that is a weakness for most of us, and he will suck us into a trap in a hurry. And so we got to keep fighting. We got to keep pressing in. We got to keep persevering, because I don't want food to be the reason that, you know, it becomes an idol and God says, you've got idolatry in your life. I don't ever want God to say that. I mean, of course, there are some other things, and I know that we put rankings and certain value and weights on all of these other sins, like murder. You mean murder and gluttony? You know, are those equal? Well, sin is sin. And if we're walking in bondage, then we're, you know, we got to get rid of that. And so this carries through the generations. This is one thing that we've talked about. We talk about it in the form of pre-existing conditions. That's a fancy way of saying there are generational things that are coming up to us, and we're even transferring it or have transferred it to our children. And we got to cut the head off of that snake and stop that. So that's the really deep spiritual part of this. And, you know, that ultimately, that's where we have to go in order to have success and to have freedom from these things that just grab at us. So any comments or thoughts about anything that we've talked about so far? Catherine.
I love that you're saying that, Angie, because while we were praying, or you were praying this morning, you know, I had several items on that list that I know are generational curses for us, like diabetes, obesity, you know, heart issues and things like that, just those health type issues that I know my family deals with. And I'm glad you said that, because I was even thinking that. I was like, wow, this right here, what we do in Fit and Focused is about that. It goes deep as generational curses. And anyway, I just wanted to share that yeah, that really came to me, and I was like, wow, because I have a sister that had gastric bypass surgery. My other sister that had passed away, which actually today's her birthday. But anyway, she had passed away, but she dealt with obesity all of her life. I mean, just some sad situations. You know, I saw the struggle. I lived the struggle myself. You know, I mean, my picture, that was obese. I was obese. But anyway, I just wanted to agree with what you were saying, that this goes even deeper, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go on to some more practical things. I'm going to hit mute on this because I keep getting some feedback. And let me share my screen. So I'm going to go into our guide. And I really grappled when I was creating the 30-day guide. I really grappled. Should I call this a cheat day or off plan day? Well, the truth is it's a cheat day. Let's just be real. You do have the opportunity to have an item. This is different than what we've said before, that you always live in choice, but we're not doing a full cheat day where you just load it up all day long. If you absolutely have to jump off plan, or you feel like you have to, and you're choosing to do that, I recommend that you pick one item. That moderation really is key, and that you really work to practice restraint by not overdoing it. So like if you tell yourself you're going to have a donut, don't go for the second one. You know, see if you can just discipline yourself at least in that. You do not have to do this. You do not have to. This is very optional, but the rest of your plan needs to remain the same. And if you are actively dropping and that's your goal, you can continue on the phase 1 plan, the detox and drop, okay? Until you hit plateau. You absolutely can do that. So this is going to be tomorrow, and Irma will be mentoring tomorrow with the check-ins and everything, and can help you check in on this. But then I want to go ahead and go over the next phase and what that plan is. You may be asking, this is a common question. So is day 10, or is day 11 going to be January 11th? No, because we have this odd day here. We're actually doing 33 days. So just to be clear about that. So we'll have this day tomorrow. And then, see, today is Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday. And then, oh, excuse me, Irma won't be on tomorrow. She'll be on Friday and Saturday. Sorry. Trying to keep it all straight. So this will be on Friday when you can go ahead and transition over to phase 2 on Friday. And so we're going to keep the same format, but we're just introducing new foods. This is not sustain your wins. We're not going down to 3. We're sticking with 4. And we are adding some new foods for the next 10 days. So you could still eat the same plan that you have, but you can incorporate these things. You can have beef, all fish, all seafood. And when we say beef, this means hamburger patties now, with the higher content. You have turkey sausage, turkey bacon, sauerkraut, zucchini. These could be your vegetables if you wanted. So a favorite in our house is turkey sausage and sauerkraut. We like to take the skinless turkey from Eckrich and slice it up and heat it up in the pan and then add sauerkraut. It's really yummy. You can have cottage cheese 2 times maximum to replace fruit. So if you're willing to give up your fruit for cottage cheese, you can do that. And we're going to say this is, depending on your size, this can be anywhere from half a cup to a full cup. So if you are on the smaller size of things, you want to reduce that down to half a cup. So like Jennifer, you would be a candidate for that for sure. Catherine, you'd be a candidate, from what I know, from what I've seen of you, a half. And then everybody else can be like a full cup, up to a full cup if you wish. You can also start adding in a teaspoon of half and half per day to your coffee if you absolutely need to. We can have pickles. You can also add a tablespoon of mayo, tartar sauce, or dressing per day. So Angie, you'll be relieved on this one. Yeah, you can start adding those things as part of your plan. Definitely off limits, hot dogs, pork. Pork it's just a Russian roulette, and I talk about this every time, but I know some of you like pork, but pork it's a huge catalyst for inflammation. A lot of women don't agree. It does not agree with me. Whenever I eat pork, whether it's bacon, whether it's ham or whatever, I swell up. I like the taste of it, but immediately I have to get my rings off because my hands swell and it cuts off the circulation, my feet swell and all that. And you can look at these foods that are off limits right now. We're definitely staying away from the carbs. All of that, like anything with yeast, wheat, bread, tortillas, pasta, squash and carrots, those have high sugar content, corn, yams, potatoes, and the like. Okay. And so, as I mentioned, when you are transitioning over, how many of you feel like you're probably going to be ready to go over to the next phase? I feel like you're going to be that after tomorrow, you're going to that plan. So Irma raised her hand. Catherine is a yes. Yeah, if you're very satisfied with where you are on the scale, you can absolutely go over no matter what. You can still drop in this phase, and you might even, if you're in a plateau, you might even see that get shook up because you're introducing a little bit more fat and a little bit more fuel for your body, so it will shake you up a little bit. Whenever I transition over to this phase and I start eating beef, I see it coming off the scale, so it's pretty cool. Okay. So I've got some sample meal plans on here for this phase. Like, who's excited to eat a steak? Me. I am. I love steak. All right, so let me see if I can, okay, here's an example of a different meal plan. So in the morning, strawberries. For lunch, turkey sausage and sauerkraut. Strawberries again in the afternoon. And then notice that this gets switched up a little bit. So you can play around with having different meals for between lunch and dinner so that you're not absolutely having to have the same thing. So in this sample plan, the evening meal might be a hamburger, steak, green salad with a tablespoon of vinaigrette. So you see there that we got to add a little condiment there with that to the salad. So think about this. Our body reacts to complexity, but also when we start adding higher fat meats, if you really want to maximize the dropping the pounds, pay attention to your fruits, because the fruits that are low glycemic and don't have as many calories, strawberry, all the berries are an example of that. So like if you're introducing more fatty meats, then you may want to switch over from apples, which have more calories and are more meaty in terms of fruits. And you can make that switch over. All right, we'll touch base on this again. Anybody have any questions? All right, so tomorrow you get to make choices. Of course, every day you get to make choices. But tomorrow is that day, so I want you to be planful about that. If you know that you're going to go off plan and eat a cheat item, then go ahead and start planning on how you manage that. Okay? Once you introduce carbs and sugar, it acts like an addiction. Your body will want more. Your body will want more of that. And so how are you going to prepare your mindset for that? So I'll leave you with that question. All right, ladies, I've got to jump off here. I've got a full plate once again today. So I gotta get some things done before my next call. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you are a VIP business member, we've got our business clinic today at 12 o'clock, and we're going to talk about, we're going to start talking about selling and what are your services? What are your offers and what are you selling and how do you do that? All right, ladies, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.